Hey guys, in today's video we're going to do an introduction to personal financial resource planning. And in today's video, the takeaway I want for you all to have is to introduce you to a new way of looking at finances and encourage you to utilize your critical thinking skills. Now, viewers should also take the concepts learned in these videos and adapt them to your own unique financial situation. So our format is as follows. We're going to do a very carry financial quiz. Then we're going to define personal financial resource planning. We're going to discuss living above, within, and below your means. And then I'm going to leave you with some viewer homework. So let's get started. How long will it take someone to become a millionaire if their income is $1 million per year? A, immediately. B, 1 year. C, 5 years. D, 10 years. Or E, never. Well, the answer is it depends. In order to be considered a millionaire, you have to have $1 million. Just because you earn a certain dollar amount does not mean you are worth that dollar amount. The rate at which you save and invest will determine how quickly you will become a millionaire. This concept holds true not just for millionaires, but for those with modest earnings too. Most people earning $40,000 a year do not have $40,000 in the bank. If you save nothing, you will have nothing. True or false? It is better to have access to resources than to have money. True. Money is just one type of resource that is purely used as a medium of exchange for other resources. Money is worthless without the ability to exchange. For example, if you're hungry, you want food, not money. You're not going to eat money. You would use the money to exchange it for food. We will explore resources in depth later in this video. Most people's financial problems stem from A, a lack of money, B, not being good at math, or C, none of the above. None of the above. Your financial state is determined by your habits and behaviors. You can have good financial habits or poor financial habits. Habits, whether good or bad, are both hard to break. And as we explore this idea of personal financial planning in all the videos coming forward, we will talk about habits in some way to break bad ones and develop good ones. Is it best to A, live above your means, B, live within your means, C, live below your means? I say it's best to live within your means. Now, many of you have probably heard, no, Carrie, we're supposed to be living below our means. Just listen to Carrie's concept and you can take it and adapt it and do what you will with it. But I say living within your means is the ability to maximize all of the resources available to you in order to achieve the life that you want. Living within your means does not mean that you do not save, invest, etc. It's quite the contrary. We will explore this concept later in the video. So what is personal financial resource planning? It is the act of creating a plan that utilizes all of the resources available to you in order to achieve your personal financial goals. So what is a resource? A resource is a source or supply from which a benefit is produced. So anything that produces a benefit is a resource. Some examples of resources are knowledge, money, water, scholarships, coupon, food, etc. So what is the personal resource planning process? If you guys have watched my Christmas budgeting video, you will know what the budgeting process is, and this personal resource planning process is very similar to that. So if you have not watched my Christmas budgeting video, I'll leave the link below. Take a look at that because I think that will be a valuable tool if you are really interested in learning more about budgeting. But the process is you set your goals, you gather information, you develop a preliminary plan, you reevaluate and adjust. You develop a resource allocation strategy. Now let's talk about living above, within, and below your means. Now what do you think about when you think of these topics? When you think about living above your means, you think about spending more than you earn. Living within your means, you think about spending what you earn. And living below your means, you may think about spending less than you earn. Living above your means, you may be living in a house you can't afford. Within your means, you think about living in a modest home. Living below your means, you may think, oh, I have to live in a little old shack. When you're above your means, you think about driving a fancy car. Within your means, oh, they're driving a modest car. Below your means, oh my gosh, I have to get on public transportation. Then above your means, oh, they're eating at 5-star restaurants. Within your means, oh, we have to have homemade meals. and living below your means, you might think of, oh gosh, not beans and rice again. And those are, could be very well, images. These might be extreme, but again, these are some of the things we think about when we are, living above, below, and within our means. So let's take a look at three families, three different example families. All three of these families have a mother, father, 2 children, and they all have a household income of $60,000 per year. So family one, they drive a swagger wagon. That's just basically a soccer mom car, a family, car. And, just a modest car, normal car for a family of 4. They live in a nice, modest home. It's really quiet on a nice, quiet street. And they have modest home furnishings. Family 2 drives a fancy luxury car. They live in a nice brick front home, and they wear designer clothes. Now, family 3 has a hoopty ride. A hoopty, in case you didn't know, is just a little old, fat, old car. They eat bread and butter, and they dine on beans and rice. Now, this, may be true or may not be true, but if you had to categorize these families, family 1, 2, and 3, would they be within their means, above their means, or below their means? So, just looking at the information that's presented to me here, I would say that family 1 looks like that they are living within their means. It looks like family 2 is living above their means, and to me it looks like family 3 is living below their means. Now, without having any other information, this is a natural conclusion to come up with. But what if you dug a little deeper? This could be so very true. This scenario here, we could be absolutely right, but could we possibly be wrong? Or could it possibly be another outcome than what we think? Family 1 being within, family 2 being above, and family 3 being below. I'm going to introduce you to some new concepts. So let's take this a little bit further. I'm going to say that family number 1 is living beyond their means. Yes, the modest family that's driving their swagger wagon, living in their modest home with their modest furniture, is living beyond their means. Now let's look at a few things. You can appear to have a modest lifestyle and live beyond your means. You can also, living beyond your means simply means that your expenses exceed your resources. It doesn't mean you have to have a fancy car to exceed your resources. It just simply means if you have $10 and you're spending $11, you are living above your means. Now, contrary to popular belief, I believe, and this is just my belief, I don't have any statistical data, but I believe that most Americans are living above their means. They're not living a flashy, lavish lifestyle. People are struggling, and they don't have fancy cars. They don't have, large homes. They're just struggling with their everyday to day. For example, this family could be a 2-family income family. The mom and the dad works. Kids are in daycare. They get off work. They're tired. They don't have time to cook. They have a meal plan. They just stop by the, McDonald's, swipe the card. There's dinner. They stop at the, daycare, swipe the card. There's pay for daycare bills. I'm so tired. I worked all week. I don't have any money, but I deserve to have a good time. Let's just go to the movies. Swipe the card and go to the movies. And before you know it, all of their normal little daily expenses that everyone incurs is ballooned into this huge amount of debt, and they just cannot figure out how to make their income meet their expenses. And I think that's where a lot of families are. And what happened to this family? This family is having problems because they do not have a plan. Now, let's look at family number 2, the family that we thought was living beyond their means. This family could actually be living within their means. Yes, they could be making $60,000, driving a Mercedes, living in a brick front home, and wearing designer clothes. It is possible to live what appears to be an extravagant lifestyle and still live within your means. This family has mastered how to utilize all resources that are available to them. Now, if you choose to live your life to its fullest potential, you do not have to make any apologies for it. You've earned it. And also remember that the most important things in life aren't things. And people that have gotten into this category probably know that already. And what makes this family so successful is because they excel in They excel because they have a plan. Now, let's look at this family. What happened with them? They only make $60,000. How are they able to do all of this stuff? It could be that this family, the father works at a car where this is a company car. He could be in a dealership and they just give him a dealership car to drive all the time. So he's driving a Mercedes, but he doesn't even own it. It doesn't matter. Remember, we talked about access. He has access to a car. Does it matter if he owns it or not? He needs to drive. So he's driving a nice car. They live in this beautiful home. We don't know. They could be living in a area of the country where the cost of living is low. They could have bought this home in foreclosure when the market was down, and got more for their money, more bang for their buck, wearing these designer clothes. You don't know. They may have thrift store. They might have went to a high-end area of town and just bought used goods, or they just may know someone that works in a high-end store and they get credits each month to wear the clothing store. Like someone working in the store, they get money each month to wear those clothing, but they didn't need that clothing, so they wanted to exchange it with you for something else. So I was like, hey girl, you don't need that Gucci jacket, then let me get that jacket and I'll give you X, Y, and Z. So they've learned how to barter, and they've learned how to get things without ever using money to exchange hands. So that's what I mean about living within your means. Not only thinking about the money that you have, but what are all the vast resources that you have available at your disposal. Now, let's also look at our final family. Family number 3. They are living below their means. They're in this, hoopty ride, and they're eating bread and butter, and they have beans and rice. Well, just because you're living below your means does not mean that you are better off financially. And also, it is possible to live so far below your means in relation to your resources that you do not have the life that you're currently entitled to. So, for example, this family could possibly be the family that was raised on good principles where they say, do not live beyond your means, save for a rainy day. Debt is bad, so they go out and they buy a car that they can buy with cash, but it's a hoopty ride, and then they're saving, but their car is always breaking down. They have the money to pay for the repairs, but they can't really get ahead because they're always using their savings to do something else around the house. So they don't understand how to purchase quality things. I've also seen these types of families, they don't have the resources or knowledge or education to read different types of contracts. So they're getting ripped off on all different types of contracts, whether it's life insurance or whatever it may be. Also, a lot of times families depend on the church a lot. And I've seen a lot of families, they give, tithing and offerings, which is great, and that's something you're supposed to do, but sometimes they're over giving. They're giving gross, tithing, they're giving offering, they're giving to the First Lady Fund, past Appreciation Day, past birthday, past Christmas, building fund, general fund, this fund, and before you know it, they're always giving, and it's a loving thing to give, but you gotta also make some common sense of what you're giving. So this family is just, trying to do the best that they can, but they're not living to their full financial potential, and they don't even have any debt, but they're still not getting ahead. This family struggles because they have failed to plan. And the reason they probably failed to plan is because they don't know how to plan, and they don't have the knowledge or the resources to do so. So in closing, I'm going to leave you guys with some homework. Task 1 is I want you to define your goals. You should have some short-term goals, some medium-term goals, and some long-term goals. If you need help in goal planning, please go back and check out my vision video. I'll leave that link in the description box below. It gives you more specific information as to how to actually set goals. And task 2, I want you to explore what resources are available to you and how you can utilize those resources to help you achieve your goals. Please do this homework so that in the next video, you'll be ready for the next step. And I hope you guys like this video. Thumbs it up if you've liked it. And until the next video, I am going to keep calm and carry on.